Vargas. It was Ryuji Utomo who came on that occasion to snuff out the danger. Here's Gonçalves. Jukakovic attempting to cut him off. He did so. Moss has got to go quickly and does so to Johnny Katrumbis. Very consistent for Newcastle over the last few weeks. Now Shepherd in between the lines to O'Donovan, who was just offside, according to the assistant referee. He doesn't look so sure.
Plenty of time to set that up. It was good communication between Shepherd and O'Donovan. And that's just straight. It's a tight one. He had plenty of time to line that up on O'Donovan. Great chance.
Gee, that is very, very tight. No VAR tonight. Lostaluhu. Sofyan. 450 game veteran Simon Yuntak from distance. Well, it was a near thing for Glenn Moss. PERSIJA again.
Well, way too much time. He's a dangerous player. I've seen enough in 25 minutes, the Newcastle players, to realise that Simon Yuntak needs to be closed down as best you can, and Glenn Moss seemed to me to be very late for that one. Was he unsighted?
Vargas. Now his passing lets him down. Sofyan was there to block the channels. Sandy. Tomo. He said all the fans of PERSIJA Jakarta will be in our hearts for this evening's match.
A club which, for big games and championship matches, cup matches, can attract 100,000 spectators to the Gelora Bung Karno in Jakarta. I mean, this is a seriously popular team in a hugely populated city.
They're in the top 5 clubs in Asia in terms of social media following. PERSIJA Jakarta. They've been getting onto the Jet social media in the past week as well. There's some fans at Newcastle Stadium tonight cheering on their side. One of their star men, PERSIJA Jakarta, Rohit Chand, last season. He's actually left the club. He was linked with Melbourne City during this recent transfer window. He's a superstar player, Nepalese descent. Georgievski cutting it in. Vargas. Andrew Tani was quickly out of his goal. Georgievski again. Abdul Rahman this time with the header away from goal. To his opposite number, Jukakovic. Petratos was hanging up there. Adrutani read it well.
A little unconventional, the goalkeeping, using his feet rather than his hands on occasions, but effective. Not so Dini Petratos' volley into the box.
Some space for Kane Shepherd. Tomo.
Really unconventional goalkeeping, actually. You'd expect, we're used to goalkeepers swallowing that up, and there's the last effort for the Jets, cleaned up. Adjutani
has shown a willingness to use his feet. Saved that strike from Shepherd as that ball overhit by Petratos. Saved that strike from Kane Shepherd earlier in the match with the shins.
Yeah, well, stood his ground. Kane Shepherd couldn't get on the ball quickly enough to have a more meaningful impact. He was stretching somewhat and hit the ball straight into Jakarta's goalkeeper.
There's a double and a half. Bogard and Schmidt coming together. Petratos. Jukakovic. Ronnie Vargas. Kantarovski just flowing down the middle of the ground. And he's put pretty much a lead boot through that one. Way in front of Daniel Georgievski, who wasn't chasing that one down in the heat. above 30 degrees here in Newcastle Stadium. Tough conditions for the players. I was checking the temperature in Jakarta a couple of hours ago and it was sitting at around 30 degrees as well. The players from PERSIJA, Jakarta, will be very much used to these conditions. Maybe the heat is a little bit more humid over there than it is tonight. It's more of a dry heat in Newcastle this evening. This time the foul goes the home side's way. Top ball Stanley not taking any time. Simon stood his ground and won the ball back for Kimayuran Tigers. Georgievski. Vargas. Deals for handball. Asimov thought he was about to put the whistle to his mouth. He took it away. Trantos attempted to just glide that one to O'Donovan. Shimek. Well, I didn't think there was much in that as Jakarta came from behind. The big man went down.
Here's the call for handball. Get a great angle on that replay. And the foul on Simic on halfway. Newcastle architects of their own downfall really in the final third. Plenty of good opportunities to open up the Jakarta defence and heavy touches, poor options, bad technique. The lack of concentration has kept Jakarta in it so far.
Yuji Utomo's come out of the back line. It's opened up space and Petratos' touch. Way too heavy. What an opportunity for the home side that was. You can see Ryuji Utomo came right out of the back line.
Clearly onside. Just an awfully heavy touch. It's symptomatic of the half hour that Newcastle have put on so far.
Just over the half-hour mark. The free kick didn't go the Jets' way. PERSIJA were away for a moment. Darkovic took it quickly. The midfielder, he's played in every one of Newcastle's A-League matches this season. He says this man, Dimi Petratos, stepping and turning.
Kita di U22 sekarang. Iya, nama-nama yang ada di timnas sekarang saya pikir sudah menjadi pilihan dari.
Been closed out. Georgievski crossed the face. O'Donovan. Well, surely it was harder to miss than to score there. Roy O'Donovan had a difficult night on Thursday against Wellington. Surely it's not going to happen again.
Well, a beautiful through ball out for Petratos, and he must have got his approach, his footwork all mucked up because you're expecting him to head that, but he's behind the play and he tries to chest it in. Very good build-up from Newcastle. Their best of the night so far.
Just 2 goals in his last 6 matches. Roy O'Donovan, both of those came from the penalty spot. One penalty finished, the other one knocked in the rebound after it was initially saved.
It's an amazing decision by Roy O'Donovan just to slow up there and try to chest the ball in rather than thunder it with a header.
Looked like it may have hit his arm in the end. Vargas. Roy O'Donovan actually played a season, or I wouldn't say a season, he was playing in Indonesia in 2015. He only played 1 match because the season was cancelled. He was playing for Mitra Kukar. Season cancelled after 3 matches. Kantorovski. Darkovic. Strong Ben Kantorovski. We're up here in Newcastle. Top ball Stanley. Looks up, took on Sandy. Vargas' ball searching for Petratos. Simon Yuntak. Well, we've been close to one of PERSIJA's best in this first half. Here goes Nyuntak. Here's Saputra. Let's club that one over the line. And now Topo Stanley giving the ball away. Nyuntak, what a turn to get away from Shepherd. And then the ball to Simic was a little too far in front of him. And Shepherd now profits for the Jets. Bent the ball wide to Petratos. Shifting the ball this way and that. Danny was up to the task. And now Georgievski on the volley. He can't get it towards goal. Well, what's going on for the Newcastle Jets? Nasadit. Ivan Kolev, you can see just on screen there, he is dancing around on the sideline in the fluoro orange. Petrumbis, Kantorovski, just trying to calm things down for Newcastle. Jarkovic ran out of options. Vargas almost tripped over the ball in the end. Gets forced back. Bogard. Trumbus. Feeds it back to his captain. Petratos. Keeping so compact in defence. PERSIJA Jakarta. There's some space here for Petratos. Threads it through O'Donovan. Looks to be offside again. Another win for the PERSIJA defence.
They stepped up. O'Donovan completely unaware of the defenders' repositioning. Very, very sloppy this from Newcastle. They want to shake themselves out of it, or be staring down the barrel of one of these surprise nights.
Well, if it keeps happening, Andy, it might not be a surprise anymore.
That's a very fair point, man.
Bogart read the situation well. Vargas. Step over. Petratos. That's all giving Georgievski a little bit of work to do. Kantorovski. As though the pass was intended for Jarkovic. And then they mop up. Got Japanese descent. His mum is from Japan, his dad from Java. And now Shepherd, that's a great turn and swivel, and probably should have been a free kick. And potentially a yellow card. They will get the free kick in the end.
That's terrible refereeing at that moment. I mean, it's quite clearly pulled the player back from an advantage. What is the referee seeing there?
Petratos tries his luck from distance. 100% agree. It should have been a free kick and should have been a yellow card for Ryuji Utomo. Now Simic in a tangle with Bogard. Wanted the free kick. Nothing doing again.
Well, that's a reasonable claim as well from Simic. There's heavy body contact. Looked awkward. The striker had been brought down.
This ball in front of O'Donovan. Well, tonight, there's three certainties in life. Death taxes and Roy O'Donovan being caught offside. That's his third tonight in 39 minutes. I have got a substitute at the ready for PERSIJA Jakarta. It's Tony Sachipto, and it looks as though he's going to come on for Jan Peter Nasadit. So before half-time. Now, Nasadic came off the bench against Home United about 20 minutes to go last Tuesday. Tonight he got the start, the 22-year-old, and he's not going to last till half-time. He doesn't mind early substitutions, Ivan Kolev. He made one last week when he brought off Sandy at half-time. This week it's Nasadic. O'Donovan, Petratos. As the overlapping run of Katrumbis decided to use it, but the boot of Saputra prevented that from coming to fruition. Inside the final 5 minutes of this opening half, preliminary round 2 of the Asian Champions League. Jugarkovic, Michael Bogard, Trumbus. Again, few options for the Jets. They're sitting deep, as expected. PERSIJA Jakarta. Question raises, said again, how to break down. How do you break down a packed defence? And at the moment, Newcastle unable to find a solution. Petratos. O'Donovan let it run on to Katrumbis. Well, curled it searching for the top corner. It was a bit of a shot cross in the end.
Well, it looked also to me, Ben, like the two Jets players, the wires crossed completely. Ultimately, the confusion was too much for Katrumbis, who neither crosses nor shoots.
And Rutani. Giving away the free kick. What a day it's been for the Croatian striker. In court earlier this afternoon in Sydney, and now out there for PERSIJA Jakarta. Petratos, Jugarkovic, and Vargas and Katrumbis, and picked out neither of them. He used Gonsalves. He can't, but he was brought to ground illegally so. Playing on quickly. Sandy. Saputra's ball is into no man's land at the end. Utomo calmly dealt with the danger. Here's Med Sofyan. Doesn't look like a 39-year-old. Now he's making the overlapping run. Simon Yunta sending Jets defenders left and right. He's cleared up the ground. On this occasion, O'Donovan wasn't offside. And he's frustrated again. Can't bring it under control. That's the 90 seconds of regulation time left in this first 45 minutes. Ball dinked in front of Kane Shepherd, who feeds in Vargas.
The sooner this half finishes for Newcastle, the better. Any Merrick can get in and try and settle the players down and get them to rediscover some just basic form compared to their last two A-League matches from the Jets, but even their form generally this season.
Well, Simon Yuntak took on top of Stanley, beat him, and now Bogard's clearance, not too far. Glenn Moss was able to grab the ball after Tony Sochipto had a strike from distance.
What a brilliant opportunity as well. That was wasted by Jakarta.
Vargas looks up, feeds in O'Donovan. Adratani's come out. Terrific goalkeeping. Using his feet again. You see that strike from Sochipto. Newcastle trying to score right on half-time. Can they find an opening? Jugarkovic. Kantarovski. No width at the moment for the Jets. Sandy. And now PERSIJA exploit the width with 1 minute of added time to go in this first half. Simon Juntak. Now Simic. Well, he tried the spectacular Marko Simic, and tell you what, the Jets opening up again.
Well, the number of chances Newcastle have had and just squandered by poor technique, the game could be out of sight. It's not. And when then you look at it from a Jakarta viewpoint, they've had some really good sights at goal. This is just the last of them. And why not back yourself from there with an athletic effort from Marko Simic.
The goal kick. And then striding through. The centre of the park is Sandy. Lester Luhu. And a little quiet the last 10 minutes or so. Back off Jugarkovic. And the first 45 minutes in Newcastle is done and dusted.
Approach, his footwork all mucked up because you're expecting him to head that, but he's behind the play and he tries to chest it in. Very good build-up from Newcastle. Their best of the night so far.
Just 2 goals in his last 6 matches. Roy O'Donovan, both of those came from the penalty spot. One penalty finish, the other one knocked in the rebound after it was initially saved.
It's an amazing decision by Roy O'Donovan just to slow up there and try to chest the ball in rather than thunder it with a header.
Looked like it may have hit his arm in the end. Vargas. Roy O'Donovan actually played a season, or I wouldn't say a season, he was playing in Indonesia in 2015. He only played 1 match because the season was cancelled. He was playing for Mitra Kukar. Season cancelled after 3 matches. Kantarovski. Jugarkovic. Strong Ben Kantarovski. We're up here in Newcastle. Top ball Scanlon. Looks up, took on Sandy. Vargas' ball searching for Petratos. Simon-Juntak. Well, we've been close to one of PERSIJA's best in this first half. Rico Simon-Juntak. And Isaputra. Club that one over the line. And now top ball Stanley giving the ball away. Simon-Juntak, what a turn to get away from Shepherd. And then the ball to Simic was a little too far in front of him. And Shepherd now profits for the Jets. Bent the ball wide to Petratos. Shifting the ball this way and that. Danny was up to the task, and now Georgievski on the volley. He can't get it towards goal. Well, what's going on for the Newcastle Jets? Nasadit. Ivan Kolev, you can see just on screen there, he is dancing around on the sideline. In the fluoro orange. Petrumbis. Now Kantarovski. Trying to calm things down for Newcastle. Jugarkovic ran out of options. Vargas almost tripped over the ball in the end. Gets forced back. Bogard. Petrumbis. Feeds it back to his captain. Petratos. Keeping so compact in defence. PERSIJA Jakarta. There's some space here for Petratos. Threads it through. O'Donovan looks to be offside again. Another win for the PERSIJA defence.
They stepped up. O'Donovan completely unaware of the defenders' repositioning. Very, very sloppy this from Newcastle. They want to shake themselves out of it, or be staring down the barrel of one of these surprise nights.
Well, if it keeps happening, Andy, it might not be a surprise anymore.
That's a very fair point, man.
Bogart read the situation well. Vargas. Needs step over. Petratos. That's all giving Georgievski a little bit of work to do. Kanarowski. As though the pass was intended for Ugarkovic. And then they mop up. Petratos. Well cut out by Utomo, the centre back, who's got Japanese descent. His mum is from Japan, his dad from Java. And now Shepherd, that's a great turn and swivel, and probably should have been a free kick. And potentially a yellow card. They will get the free kick in the end.
That's terrible refereeing at that moment. I mean, it's quite clearly pulled the player back from an advantage. What is a referee seeing there?
Petratos tries his luck from distance. 100% agree. It should have been a kick and should have been a yellow card for Ryuji Utomo. Now Šimić in a tangle with Bogart. Wanted the free kick. Nothing doing again.
Well, that's a reasonable claim as well from Šimić. There's heavy body contact. It looked awkward. The striker had been brought down.
This ball in front of O'Donovan. Well, tonight, there's three certainties in life. Death taxes and Roy O'Donovan being caught offside. That's his third tonight in 39 minutes. I have got a substitute at the ready to PERSIJA Jakarta. It's Tony Suchipto, and it looks as though he's going to come on for Jan Peter Nasadit. So before half-time, now Nasadit came off the bench against Home United about 20 minutes to go last Tuesday. Tonight he got the start, the 22-year-old, and he's not going to last till half-time. He doesn't mind early substitutions, Ivan Kolev. He made one last week when he brought off Sandy at half-time. This week it's Nasadit. O'Donovan. Petratos, as the overlapping run of Katrumbis decided to use it, but the boot of Saputra prevented that from coming to fruition inside the final 5 minutes of this opening half. Preliminary round 2 of the Asian Champions League. Ugarkovic. Michael Bogart. Trumbus. Again, few options for the Jets. They're sitting deep, as expected. PERSIJA Jakarta. And the question raises, said again, how to break down. How do you break down a packed defence? And at the moment, Newcastle unable to find the solution. Petratos. O'Donovan let it run on to Katrumbis. Well, call that searching for the top corner. It was a bit of a shot cross in the end.
Well, it looked also to me, Ben, like the two Jets players, the wires crossed completely. And ultimately the confusion was too much for Katrumbis, who neither crosses nor shoots.
Tani. Giving away the free kick. What a day it's been for the Croatian striker. In court earlier this afternoon in Sydney, and now out there for PERSIJA Jakarta. Stratos. Vujakovic. And Vargas and Katrumbis, and picked out neither of them. He'll use Gonçalves. He can't, but he was brought to ground illegally so. He's playing on quickly. Sandy. Satufu's ball is into no man's land at the end. Utomo calmly dealt with the danger. It's Med Sofyan. Doesn't look like a 39-year-old. Now he's making the overlapping run. Simon Yunta sending Jets defenders left and right. He's cleared up the ground. On this occasion, O'Donovan wasn't offside. And he's frustrated again, can't bring it under control. It's the 90 seconds of regulation time left in this first 45 minutes. The ball dinked in front of Kane Shepherd, who feeds in Vargas.
The sooner this half finishes for Newcastle, the better. Only Merrick can get in and try and settle the players down and get them to rediscover some just basic form compared to their last two A-League matches from the Jets, but even their form generally this season.
Well, Simon Yuntak took on top of Stanley, beat him, and now Bogart's clearance not too far. Glenn Moss was able to grab the ball after Tony Sachipto had a strike from distance.
What a brilliant opportunity as well. That was wasted by Jakarta.
Vargas looks up, beats in O'Donovan. Adratani's come out. Terrific goalkeeping. Using his feet again. You see that strike from Sachipto. Newcastle trying to score right on half-time. Can they find an opening? Vujakovic. Kantarovski. No width at the moment for the Jets. Sandy. And now PERSIJA exploit the width with 1 minute of added time to go in this first half. Simon Juntak. Now Simic. Well, he tried the spectacular Marko Simic, and tell you what, the Jets opening up again.
Well, the number of chances Newcastle have had and just squandered by poor technique, the game could be out of sight. It's not. And when then you look at it from a Jakarta viewpoint, they've had some really good sights at goal. This is just the last of them. And why not back yourself from there with an athletic effort from Marko Simic?
The goal kick. And striding through the centre of the park is Sandy. Lester Luhu. And a little quiet the last 10 minutes or so. Struck off Vujakovic. And the first 45 minutes in Newcastle is done and dusted. And it has been a frustrating 45 minutes for the home fans and the home side. And that man has been a star. Rico Simon Juntak. Daniel Georgievski had some opportunities down the left to bend in some balls, but it's come to naught for Newcastle. Half time at Newcastle Stadium. Newcastle Jets 0, PERSIJA Jakarta 0.
Yeah, what to think about for Newcastle Jets at home in a game they're expected to progress from in the 2019 Asian Champions League. We're going to get the thoughts of Bruce Gite and Mark Bosnich after the break about how they can make the breakthrough, or whether or not this Indonesian side can nick something and take the game. We're back in a moment. Welcome back. As we've seen from the Indonesians, they aren't going anywhere 0-0 at half-time between themselves and Newcastle to get through to the next stage of playoffs in the Asian Champions League and make that group stage. And it's split right down the middle for Australian sides in playoffs in the ACL. 4 wins, 4 losses, the most recent of which obviously a loss. Ceres Negros last year of Philippines getting the better of Brisbane Roar on the night. But Roar would rather forget. Let's hope it's a different story for Newcastle Jets. Stop it, Bozza. Let's get back to Andy Harper and Ben Homer.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, a very even first half in the end if you look at chances created. Second 45 minutes just about to get underway. Uzbek referee, this is Asimov with the whistle to the mouth. And we are good to go in the second half of this preliminary round 2 AFC Champions League qualifier. The winner of this goes through to play Kashima Antlers in round 3, a spot in the Asian Champions League group stage on the line. Andy Harper, it was a difficult first half, a frustrating first half for the home side, wasn't it?
Poor first half. Really enough opportunities to be out of sight already. There were chances for Jakarta to score themselves. That point needs to be re-emphasised, and Newcastle would have been embarrassed by such a thing, and it was up to Ernie Merrick. It has been up to Ernie Merrick in the half-time break to chasten his troops and line them up and get them playing according to their own mantra, which, as I keep saying, I think has been good this year without the results, and certainly the last 2 weekends have been very exciting, the Newcastle performances, but that was missing in action completely in the first 45. Ivan Kolev, the coach of Jakarta, will be very buoyant with the way that his team rode out the storm as best they could and had those chances for themselves.
We saw both managers there, and both of them with 2 very different reactions to the start of this first half. Ernie Merrick screaming at his side, and Ivan Kolev just calmly on his haunches. We're so proud of the first 45 minutes from PERSIJA Jakarta. And Moss hooks this one over the sideline. So good against Wellington on Thursday. He's had a little bit of work to do already tonight in goals. Shimmick come off the hand, but too much force from Nikolai Topor-Stanley.
It's not an impressive sequence. Restart in the second half. Glenn Moss kicks the ball directly out. No pressure. Nikolai Topor-Stanley lumbers into the back of Simic to concede the free kick.
It doesn't seem as though they have heeded the half-time message from Ernie Merrick. Curling it in, and Topor-Stanley got his head to it. Can't prevent it, crossing the line for a corner kick.
That had dangerous flight. He thought off the boot, but the Jakarta players gave up on that one, it seemed to me. Sofian curling it nicely. Topor-Stanley did well, really, without knowing that there wasn't a Jakarta player bearing down from his blind side. He did well to head that one away.
It's terrific on the set pieces, Sofian. 53 matches for the Indonesian national side. 3 goals. The last of which was in 2010. Corner drilled in. And Jugarkovic, I think, has just put it out for a throw in the end, or will it be a corner? Well, according to Asimov, it's crossed the goal line, and Simon Yuntak deliver this one with a little more height. It just lost a little bit of footing there. You can see a bit of a divot. So Ronnie hits higher. Shimmick a bit of work to do. Sofyan, the legs. Little swivel from Luhu. And now curled in by Sofyan. Well taken by Glenn Moss, who looks to release Dimi Petratos. Ball catch up with him. And now powers the ball to Kane Shepherd, who hooks Roy O'Donovan into the action now. There's Vargas in the middle. O'Donovan. Here is Ronnie Vargas. 2 goals in 6 days for Ronnie. His first match in the Asian Champions League brings his first goal. And it's relief for the home side.
Well, this is beautiful from Dimi Petratos. It did take a while to secure the ball. It was bouncing around, but it's a great penetrating pass. That's superb, that from Shepherd. That is 100% awareness of what's around. O'Donovan responds in kind, and for the moment you thought, given everything that Newcastle have dished up so far, that Ronnie Vargas is going to lose his balance from 3 yards out and miss the chance, but not so. The Venezuelan scores, eases Newcastle's nerves, and tellingly makes a beeline for Labinot Haliti in the technical area to congratulate and say thank you.
And doesn't he know a thing or two about the AFC Champions League? Labinot Haliti winning the title with Western Sydney Wanderers back in 2014. Coaching the Jets youth side at the moment. Rutomo. Sofyan. And all of a sudden, it's PERSIJA will have to chase a goal if they are to stay in the AFC Champions League. Simon Yuntak. Flex wide to Sochipto. Had a chance in the first half. Ricocheted up to Johnny Katrumbas' chest. The question is, will things open up here for Newcastle now? With the visitors having to throw a little bit of caution the wind here.
Well, this is an example of why and how Newcastle was so effective last year, because there was automation to their play. There wasn't players second guessing what might be on. It was 100% awareness, as I said. There was that last late stutter in the end because of the deflection. But that's when Newcastle are at their best, when they just hit the auto button and players play immediately what they see.
And here they go again. Vargas' ball was low and the was making the run, but Danny Saputra was in the way. And there is a whistle against the goal scorer. It was the Brazilian-born Indonesian, Beto Gonçalves, who played his first international for Indonesia last year. Played 6 all up and scored 3 goals, so an instant impact for him. His wife is Indonesian. Sofyan, the outside of the boot. Simon easily away from Shepherd, squares it across the face. And it fell for Sochipto. And he will get back on the ball here, the substitute. Came on in the 40th minute, Tony Sochipto. And in the end, it will be a corner.
Yeah, the deflection off Dimi Petratos. He thought he had him beaten. A lucky deflection for JAKARTA. The corners have been a test for Newcastle.
So it's Sandy on the corner duties this time, giving Moss a little bit of work to do with the punch. So Chipto knocks it into the path of Sandy. Ben Kantorowski with a header away. And now Ronnie Vargas wins the ball. Little neat chip. And Dimi Petratos has got plenty of real estate ahead of him. Tried to play it in front of Roy O'Donovan, but Ismet Sofyan The 39-year-old in the way. Petratos is not going anywhere. Jugarkovic in front of Katrumbas, who rolled it. Calls for Kantarovski. Katrumbas. Now Jugarkovic to Nigel Bogart. Kantarovski, the only man out there who played in the Jets' last Asian Champions League match back in 2009. It wasn't a happy night against Pohang. Here's Katrumbas. Back to Roy O'Donovan, and it was Ryuichi Utomo.
That was the wrong option, however. Again, it was a good through ball. Newcastle starting to find some consistent form. Katrumbas with a good overlap, but the cutback was for Jugarkovic. Not for the square ball across the edge of the 6-yard box.
Kratos, it was Saputra with the header away. Fell for Katrumbas, attempted on the volley, and he's been taken down. The ball has ended up in the goal. And it will be a free kick to Newcastle.
Well, that's staggering. Why you wouldn't allow an advantage to play there. I mean, the ball has ended up in the penalty area with a Newcastle player who can line up and score. Isn't that the very virtue of the advantage rule?
I thought so. So first yellow card of the evening, Ramdani Lestaluhu. He's in his second start. Second stint, I should say, with PERSIJA Jakarta. He was there from 2007 to 2012 and now back since 2014. So a real veteran of the club. And now Dimi Petratos looking to size up this set piece. I mentioned before, no goals in the AFC Champions League. He did score 7, played 7 games in the AFC Cup and scored 4 goals. There he is, Dimi, and again, not locked on to goal. Knotted it down. So Chipto was held to ground.
This pass from Dimi Petratos was something, but just about Kane Shepherd and why he's doing so well as an A-League player. There's probably a little bit limited speed across the ground, no limitations in speed between the ears. Fabulous anticipation. He took the picture with the ball on the way. He knew exactly where the runners were and where the ball needed to be hit. A good goal for Ronnie Vargas, but a super contribution from Kane Shepherd.
So Georgievski with a couple of tumbles. Sofyan breaking forward and curling it. Simon Yuntak fires it in. And Gonçalves forced to do too much work there. Scored at the back post with a header from a ball from Simon Yuntak last week. So Gonçalves, he's been in Southeast Asia since 2008 and he scored 58 goals in 92 matches in the last 3 seasons.
He also, according to my very rudimentary mathematics, has accumulated a club CV totaling 22 in his playing career. It's decent.
That is very impressive. We see Newcastle fans appealing for a yellow card here. One of the PERSIJA players has kicked or thrown the ball away. I didn't see it precisely. And as is Asimov, the Uzbek referee. So they go over and have a chat to Abdurrahman. No card. Top ball Stanley. Petratos shifting the ball onto the right. He went perilously close to crossing the byline. This ball just hanging up in the night sky beyond Shepherd, and Simon Yuntak failing to keep that ball inside.
Well, I think the error there, not from Simon Yuntak. He was desperately trying to keep the ball in, but it could have easily gone out for a goal kick.
Georgievski, Shepherd, Petratos.
Almost as many shots tonight for Dimi Petratos as Alberto Gonçalves has got clubs next to his name. One of which I should suggest is the delightfully named the House of Billiards out of Suriname. Where'd you go?
I do know there's a club in the world called Bangkok Glass FC. I thought that's one of my favourites as well, was Petratos. Tried to feed it to Shepherd.
It was too good to be true, wasn't it, for Dimi? A ball picked up like that with two Newcastle players in his line of sight, but adjust and realise that they were both offside.
Bogart looks up and sees the former Croatian youth player. Scored some goals at Croatian youth level as well. And Marko Šimić. Bogart. Georgievski chipping towards Vargas and O'Donovan. Neither can profit from the ball. And Simon Yuntak pirouetting again. It's just dazzling to watch on the ball. Here he is again. Look at this, holding off Georgievski and winning the foul in the end. 3 league goals for him last year, 9 assists. Here he is back on the ball again. Sofyan. Duraman. Gonçalves, Šimić, again the boos from the home crowd. Picked up by Katrumbas. Final half an hour now in Newcastle. Top or Stanley. Georgievski got into a bit of a pickle. And this man was blocking his options, Sandy. So Chipto. Now taking them on is Gonçalves. Moss smartly down to his right. And the man born in Brazil, what a chance.
Well, he's got enough goals next to his name for Newcastle not to allow him such uncontested passage right through the centre of the field to that shooting opportunity.
Bogart actually red-carded in his last ACL match for Adelaide United back in 2012. Kartos thinking it. Ugarkovic connecting at the back post. He just reefed it across goal beyond Ronnie Vargas. Sofyan. He clapped it into Petratos. Went down in a screaming heap. I think Petratos was just acting roadblock there. Šimić. Can the Croatian conjure up here? Not much. Straight into the path of Georgievski. Shepherd. Now to Vargas. The Jets attempting to move the ball quickly again. Vargas dropped it back to Kantarovski, and they just lost that bit of energy they had and speed moving forward.
That's a great read, Ben, because I think Daniel Georgievski decided not to really go for it in the first instance. When Vargas was looking to play the ball wide, it was a rather sluggish effort by Daniel Georgievski to join the attack, and he read it perfectly thereafter.
Now Šimić angling his run, shoulder to shoulder with Kantarovski. He's been public enemy number 1 tonight in Newcastle.
But he is a handful. He's such a big man.
There's another chance here for PERSIJA. Shimming from left to right. And you get the right boot free. Simon Yuntak just offside. Probably the first error he's made tonight.
Well, he set it up. It's a tight one, but he is offside. That's a good call. Their best player tonight, I think by some distance, Simon Yuntak. Very, very dangerous customer, and a delightful reminder that it's not the size of the dog in the fight that counts. He is very, very difficult to contain and completely belies his diminutive stature.
He's just 27 years of age as well. Kane Shepherd just thwarted there by Ryuji Utomo, trying to pump up his side. So excited for this match yesterday in the press conference. Dimi Petratos. Hasn't been his night tonight. Brings it up towards Bogart at the back post. Katrumbas. More the less said about that strike, the better. From Johnny. Hasn't scored a goal in a bit over a year now.
Well, he never shaped up with, and looked like he had the technique to deal with that at any point, Johnny Katrumbas.
Neat back heel from Simon Yuntak, and Lester Luhu was reading it well, as was Ben Kantarowski for Newcastle, and Glenn Moss pumps it over the sideline. He was crunched in there by Nikolai Topor-Stanley and Kane Shepherd. He's slow to get to his feet. Now the skipper. Katrumbas. Line to Petratos. When he's run infield, finds Roy O'Donovan, who is offside for the 4th time.
Another sliding ball from Dimi Petratos, and it's another good call from the assistant. It's a tight one, but moot point anyway because of the air swing from O'Donovan.
As you can see, 5 offsides for the Jets. He's been involved in a lot of them. Vargas. No one out there on that far flank. Dimi Petratos had cut into the middle. It was vacant pastures. Marko Šimić just giving a little bit back to the crowd there because they roared over on that far side. Plenty going back and forth. Here's Utomo. And look at this from Adratani. A little bit of skill from the goalkeeper of the year in the Indonesian League for the last 2 seasons. Sucipto. Looks up. Threaded the ball to Gonçalves. Katrumbas was there. Vargas. Look at this space in the midfield. There is Rico. Up he hangs it, and Gonçalves was rushing through at the back post, and Topor-Stanley, he's been mighty tonight, was there again.
Well, touch of the Renegatas without the wig, or the rug, of course. Beautiful composure, the bad touch either. Very flamboyant from Andratani.
Captain of PERSIJA Jakarta. Conceded just 60 goals in the last 68 domestic matches. So less than a goal a game. Terrific goalkeeper and a terrific defence as well. Can they get themselves back into it? Moss with a little bit of a juggle there. Rolls it into the path of Daniel Georgievski, and he just tells him, go for a run. It looks as though we are going to get our second change of the night for PERSIJA Jakarta. Novri Setiawan replacing Beto Gonçalves. He was one of the main men for PERSIJA last season. 30 matches, 26 starts in their victorious campaign for Stanley. He's hanging it up there for Kane Shepherd.
Well, the clock ticks over 70 minutes. The Jets with a goals lead, and there was some pretty good mail that for PERSIJA Jakarta. Their pre-match meal was a bucket of KFC, which means for the sports science minded out there, it's a great opportunity for Newcastle to overrun the visitors tonight. And I say that with a straight face. That's the very, very good mark. A 4 o'clock pre-match dinner for PERSIJA Jakarta was a bucket of KFC. Let's see if the Jets can turn it into an advantage.
So inside the final 20, and the crowd trying to inspire the Newcastle Jets. The Australian side attempting to make it through to round 3, the preliminary round 3 of the AFC Champions League, where they will face Kashima Antlers in Japan next Tuesday. Šimić. This one threaded up the line by Sochipto. Šimić in decent goal scoring form, 11 goals in his last 8 matches. Over the outside of the boot, Rico Simanjuntak picks out Lester Luhu. Little deflection. Corner kick.
Good chance again. And it's all created by Simanjuntak. And Daniel Georgievski thought he had him. He was about to swamp him on the edge of the centre circle. And before he knew it, Simanjuntak had spun on a dime and dribbled away and passed the ball and created some havoc for Newcastle to defend. And now the corner comes as a result.
This one hangs up, and it was the header from Šimić. And if it wasn't for Ben Kantarowski, Glenn Moss would have had a mighty job to do.
Well, that corner's driven in. That's an outstanding head.
Simanjuntak in again! Has it crossed the line? It has! And they've got the equaliser! And it is Ramdani Lester Luhu. That goal will mean a lot for those travelling fans. Salvation for PERSIJA Jakarta.
Well, the last corner driven in, this one curled, and the Newcastle Jets just don't deal with it at all. It's a great header, the second consecutive such. Now this time the Newcastle defender on the line, Daniel Georgievski, cannot head the ball clear. And Newcastle only with themselves to blame. Inept defending. They've been warned countlessly from corner situations. And it's game on in Newcastle.
Two goals in his last 5 coming into this one, make it 3 and 6 for Ramdani Lester Luhu.
Well, there must have been the Zinger burger that went into those headers.
The pre-match meal has worked a treat, it seems. And Newcastle and PERSIJA locked up once again. A reminder, if we are level at 90 minutes, we go into extra time. Shepherd, Petratos, Was never going to get the purchase on the header. Just beyond his reach in the end.
Well, the corner came as a result of a very powerful header off the line, saving from Simic, but the resultant effort was just outstanding from Lester Luhu. And the sequence of corners been set up by Simon Yuntak. A beautiful hit and spin on the centre circle, left Georgescu in his wake. The Jets have really struggled to contain Simon Yuntak.
And there he is, the goal scorer, Ramdani Lester Luhu.
Well, I don't know. Player goes down with cramp, and people who have heard me say this before, it's fair enough, but why the game has to stop for so long? I mean, this player should be treated off the field, surely.
It's just cramp, it's a matter of fitness. And Danny Saputra is the man struggling. They've got one change left. PERSIJA Jakarta. And just on Ramdani Lester Luhu, the man who scored the equaliser. He was discovered playing football by a former under-17 national coach of Indonesia. Thought he had plenty of talent, plenty to offer. The 27-year-old has delivered in spades tonight. Industrious in the midfield and a goal to boot. Petratos on to Vargas, who opened the scoring for Newcastle. O'Donovan with the back heel. Too heavy in the end.
Yeah, a little bit of magic from Roy O'Donovan. You do enjoy it when a player tries something different like that. A really nice try.
Cluttering of bodies between Bogart and Šimić before Stanley just carves it up the ground. As we see the PERSIJA bench being summoned. We'll find out who the final substitution will be, because Danny Saputra is not in a good way. He's going to succumb to that cramp. Utomo. Simanjuntak combines with Sofyan. Here he is, the 39-year-old. Over 450 matches in Liga 1 in Indonesia. Adratani hoofs it long. Ugarkovic. Petrumbus. He had Sucipto coming at him, and Sucipto couldn't keep it inside. Newcastle once again. Going quickly. Kantarovski. Georgescu. On the left and curled in, and Ryuji Utomo. Defiant in defence. Vargas. Little dink. O'Donovan was waiting. Never arrived though. And now they've turned it over. And the speed from Chetiawan. And the foul is there. Yes. Ronnie Vargas just couldn't resist.
And will be fortunate to get away without a yellow card there. A good turn of speed.
Fitra Ridwan, the man who has headed out onto Newcastle Stadium to replace Danny Saputra. He started the win against Home United. Been at the club for a couple of seasons now. Hasn't found the back of the net for a couple of years either. Simon Yuntak. Linking it to Sofyan. And he craned his head, Chetiawan, at the near post. That was a near thing. Chetiawan scored last month in their Piala Indonesia clash with 757 Kepujaya in an 8-2 win. O'Donovan to Tratos. Gets the left free. Well blocked by Abdurrahman. Here's O'Donovan. Well, this is incredible. Roy O'Donovan, the last two matches, just can't seem to get a shot on target.
It's certainly not his night tonight. Roy missed that one inside the 6-yard box in the first half, and this just marginally outside the 6-yard box. He's just whacked it. High and wide.
So the goal scorer, Ronnie Vargas, makes way for Matt Redenton, who is substituted off at half-time against Wellington Phoenix on Thursday. He looks to add some steel to the midfield. Matt Redenton. Dimitar Tratos looks to have shifted into that number 10 role. Kantarovski and Petratos almost getting in each other's way there. Georgievski takes on a couple, beats a couple, including Sandy. And the goal scorer, Lester Luhu. Finds Sandy. Sofian. Simon Yuntak. Busy as a beaver and into his backside on this occasion. Well, at this point in time, you'd have to say he would be by far and away player of this match.
Yeah, he's been the outstanding player, there's no question. Not in my mind, at least. Others might have a different view, but he's just been a constant menace for the Jets.
So are we heading towards extra time? Less than 10 minutes to go in regulation in this preliminary round 2 AFC Champions League match between Newcastle Jets and PERSIJA Jakarta. Ronnie Vargas the goal for Newcastle, and as was the case on Thursday night for the Jets, when Vargas opened the scoring, they conceded. It was Ramdani Lestaluhu who scored the goal for the visiting PERSIJA Jakarta side. Turned over by the Jets in the midfield. Up looks Simic. It's been a tough day for him, trying to end it on a high. Not the connecting ball he would have liked.
No, I would have just thought very quickly, do I shoot from this range? And I saw the distance. It dulled his enthusiasm.
So Angus Thurgate will get his chance now for Newcastle. All 12 matches in the Hyundai A-League have come off the bench. His first in the AFC Champions League also comes off the bench, the youngster, the 19-year-old. Grew up in Port Macquarie, left school at the start of year 12 because he wanted to pursue football as a career. Can he make himself a hero for the Jets tonight? He's a very, very hard worker. He won't let Ernie Merrick down. Georgievski onto O'Donovan. His flick took a little deflection, and Thurgate is good enough to win a corner kick.
Anticipated that well. O'Donovan controlling and knocking the ball blindly into the space, blindly from his body position. He knew that there was a teammate running, and that was Thurgate, who anticipated well.
Petratos goes Andratani, knocked away only as far as Georgievski. Well controlled by Petratos. Georgievski is in Petratos. Redenton will clean up the scraps, will he? He has in the end, but Simon Yuntak is going to win his side a goal kick. There he is, 27 years of age. Dynamic winger. And you may have just seen before Ryuji Utomo, the centre-back, the passion from the number 4. hometown is Jakarta. He actually won the Thai second division last year with PTT Rayong. He's back at PERSIJA, went on loan to Thailand last year, and he is loving it. He wants to do his home fans proud. And there probably isn't anything more special than playing for your home club. Georgievski, Tratos angled the ball and was brought to ground. Sandy the man to inflict the foul. Time running out for both sides now. The Indonesian champions against the side who were runners-up in last season's Australian A-League Grand Final. Turovsky went to ground but was able to recover. And Jukakovic brought down, and well, for the Jets it was a good decision because otherwise PERSIJA Jakarta were away.
Well, I think he's turned into trouble. He did cop an elbow on the chin, which is certainly unfortunate, but he turned into trouble and the referee bailed him out to a certain extent there.
Played a bit of his football in Croatia, Steven Jukakovic. And Sandy still down here, and they haven't got any changes left for PERSIJA Jakarta, unless we get to extra time, of course.
I cannot, for the life of me, understand why a referee is just allowed not to get a stretcher on the medical team. It's cramp, get him off. Time ticks away. Patience of Job, this ref.
I agree. I think you just pick them up and take them off. If it's a fitness issue, which it is, you can see the left calf of Sandy receiving some treatment, and the stretch has been brought out as well. It's not often you see the stretcher brought out in Australia.
Well, there's just another couple of minutes. We've had the pleasure of sitting down watching a bloke get his calf rubbed.
The question is, will it be added on? Because if you add on the minutes we've lost, you're probably looking at least 5. Tratos. The gate was gliding through. Šimić has the run of the substitute. Ridwan ahead of him. He's just taking on Jets left, right and centre. Still going Marko Šimić. And played the ball in to Shertiavan. And there was an offside, as you can hear the roars from the home crowd. He didn't hear the whistle. Marko Šimić.
It was a barnstorming run though. And a big breakaway for Jakarta. Newcastle players had all pushed forward for the set piece. He took matters into his own hands and feet, and honestly, that's a good cutback as well.
Georgievski. Turovsky. Look for Thurgate. Was Utomo who got to ground first. Kantarovsky nods it on. Thurgate. He knew what he had to do. The quality not there in the end from the young man, and we've got another PERSIJA player down. And time continues ticking.
Well, 1 out, 1 in for Jakarta. In fairness to Mr. Luhu, he was the player who fronted up to try and stop Ben Kantarovsky and came off second best.
And you can can see Sandy really struggling with cramp here. Now this ball dinked forward. O'Donovan's in on goal. Andratani made the save. Well, everyone was just having a bit of a kip there. What was going on?
Well,
and here we go. Roy O'Donovan is copping some abuse from the PERSIJA players because they thought he should have played it back to the keeper instead of trying to score.
You're going to play on, you've got to score. There's a feeling from the Jakarta players that he's broken convention. Roy O'Donovan's entitled to play on. I personally don't have a problem with players doing this. But it's just not Roy O'Donovan's night, because even from in front, Jimmy Petratos is kicking the ball back to the keeper.
That's what bemused me. Roy O'Donovan thought, here we go. And Andratani stood tall. And it would have stood too. And I'll tell you what, there would have been drama as well if it had have counted for Newcastle. You can see the fans biting the fingernails, perplexed looks. Šimić, over the head of Katrumbas. Lester Luhu, the goal scorer for PERSIJA. And the birthday boy, Suchipto, bringing up the line to Setiawan. 5 minutes of additional time. Plenty of time for both sides to snatch a late winner. Will an A-League side be heading out at this stage of the Champions League for a second consecutive season? Ernie Merritt, Clayton Zane, with some thinking to do. Maybe an extra time. Thurgate used the body well, rolled it through. Petratos, offside. It was a late flag.
Well, in fairness to the assistant, I think he was waiting to see if O'Donovan's going to take the play, because O'Donovan, I believe, came from an onside position. But Thurgate does well. Dimmy is offside. O'Donovan's clearly onside. And again, neither have the sufficient awareness to maximise the opportunity. Maybe Roy O'Donovan was going out in sympathy with Dimmy, having been offside so many times himself tonight.
So Abdul Rahman thumps it up the ground. A long ball. Simon Yuntak and Georgievski in a one-on-one duel here. And Simon Yuntak may have copped an arm across the face. Not according to referee Asimov. Turn from Sandy. Abdul Rahman. So 3 minutes left in stoppage time. Minimum of 3 minutes. This one almost rolled by Nikolai Topor-Stanley in his 28th ACL match. Georgievski nodded down. Redenton, well, he doesn't score many goals. Snuffed out at the back by PERSIJA. Bogard this time. Long to Georgievski, first time. Aiming to pick out Thurgate. And the strong Ben Kantarovski. Topor-Stanley. Redenton had just brushed off his head and it took it away from Petratos. Katrumbas. Neat turn away from Setiawan. And now Petratos with the pirouette and the free kick.
The time ticks away. The Jets have had their chances to seal this way earlier, but any American, the gathered fans here won't mind if they leave it this late but finish the job. Cardos delivery from set pieces, not A1 quality tonight, but he's got, importantly, one chance to deliver something of substance.
And the Jets, they don't mind late shows in the ACL. You might remember a match from 2009 where they beat Beijing. They scored 2 goals in the last 5 minutes of that one. Tratos dinks it. Up rose Durgate. Falls for Redenton, who was barreled over. Appeals for a penalty. Unheeded by Uzbek referee. Moss. Lester Luhu chimes in with Simon Yuntak. Kept it inside the line. Kantarovski couldn't do likewise.
Well, it's Simic on the end there to clear it. I don't know if there's a penalty in that. Redenton had lost control, the ball had gone, a player just standing his ground.
The Kiwi, who's played in the OFC, the Oceania Football Confederation Champions League for Auckland City. He was on the bench for them back in 2013, but not in the ACL before tonight. Simon Yuntak. Terrific close control, and Sofyan plays that one straight to the front row. And that is the end of normal time here at Newcastle Stadium. And finally we had a goal at the start of this half. It was scored by Ronnie Vargas for the Newcastle Jets. But PERSIJA JAKARTA, they kept trying, and it was that man on screen, Ramdani Lestaluhu, who equalised for Ivan Kolev's side. That leaves us with Newcastle Jets 1, PERSIJA JAKARTA 1 at full time. Extra time to come.
Benny, thank you. Superb stuff from the visiting side. You've got to pay homage to them. PERSIJA JAKARTA. But Bruce Gita and Mark Bosnich will have a look at a couple of highlights while we're waiting for the start of the first extra period. And are the Jets the instigators of their own problems here?
Well, I think definitely they are. Let's not talk about the first half. Let's just go into the second half. Wonderful start with that goal by Vargas, and had plenty of chances to pretty put this beyond PERSIJA. But PERSIJA, you've got to be, like you said, you've got to pay them homage. They come back, and they come back very hard and create a lot of chances themselves. I thought deservedly got an equaliser. But now it's anyone's game. We talked about the conditions before the match, Bruce, and that's going to be very important now because of how hot it is, and it's contributed obviously sometimes because it really was an entertaining game, because I think a lot of players with that tired, it would become a little bit like basketball, up and down. But now that's going to be so important going to this extra half an hour.
Yeah, definitely will be. I mean, look, I think Newcastle Jets will be extremely disappointed to be in these circumstances. You're in the middle of your A-League season, it's 34, 35 degrees. You've gone now into extra time on a Tuesday night when they've got to back up again on the Friday. But I think it's, you know, they've done it to themselves. They've had more than enough chances to win this game. But to reiterate what Boz was saying, well done to PERSIJA. You know, they dug in. They knew they were under the pump for long periods of that game, but they were able to nick a goal themselves. And even before they scored that goal,
there's a warning, wasn't there?
There was a warning from Simic's header, and we even called it behind the scenes here that you know, they're good for a goal here.
Here are the goals. Beautiful work from Kane Shepherd. The blind pass to Roy O'Donovan. Boz, well taken in the end by
Shepherd. Was excellent all night. Great ball in, and well taken, like you said, by Vargas. And look, you know, we spoke about the low block that PERSIJA employed in that first half. And we talked about ways of breaking it down. The other way that we talked about 5 or 6 ways is the double counter. If people are with me on that, is basically when you're attacking, they break on you, you get the ball back and break about them because all their defence is scrambled, and that's exactly what Newcastle did a couple of times. But here's that goal from Lester Luhu. Wonderful header, absolutely fantastic. And like Bruce said, they had a warning. Literally, I think it was 2 or 3 minutes earlier. And they've been having several warnings. I mean, Da Costa went through and produced a good save from Glenn Moss, but that goal was coming. And like I said, right now, it's an even bet of who's going to finish out on top.
Daniel Georgievski wants that moment back, I dare say, Brucey.
Yeah, you know, you put your defenders on the line there, you'd expect them to stop those balls going in. That's the whole reason why they're there. But look, it was a good header also. I mean, let's not take anything away from the goal scorer. A fantastic header there. And like I said, they deserve that goal. And I think the thing is, when you don't put these games to bed, these teams then start to get that oxygen. You actually feed them that oxygen, like, hold on a second, these guys aren't all that crash off.
Roy O'Donovan nearly started an international incident, I think, between Australia and Indonesia, and maybe with Ireland involved as well, with that play on with the drop ball.
A good save by Adi Asa, the PERSIJA goalkeeper, who's been excellent throughout all night. I just wanted to ask Bruce a quick question from your time over there. If it does happen to go to penalties, from a mental perspective, what are they like?
I think I think the Newcastle Jets have the edge on them in penalties. But in saying that, there's not much pressure on them here. I think when it gets to penalties, you know, they've played quite a good game. I wouldn't go to the Russian roulette of penalties. I would be wanting to put it to bed if I was Newcastle.
Well, let's find out. Newcastle certainly up and ready long before the visitors, and that's probably fair enough given the trouble that they've had and the fact that they are officially out of season. That's the remarkable thing about this. They haven't played a league game since December 9. They played a couple of cup games, and they played last week. They played a last week game against Home United of Singapore, which they won away from home. But yeah, they're not exactly in peak condition in terms of the middle of the season. But you wouldn't know it. They've played oh so well in that second half. So we're almost ready for this first period of extra time. It's on a nice edge. Newcastle's 2019 Asian Champions League campaign. Let's see what becomes of it. Get back to Andy Harper and Ben Homer.
Thank you, Adam. And interestingly, on that league season, PERSIJA Jakarta don't actually start the Liga 1, or the Liga 1 doesn't start this season until May because of the Indonesian election. Normally it gets underway in March, but it's such a big event in Indonesia that they have to delay the start of the season. So they're going to have a couple of months without football. And with Marco Simic potentially having to stay in Australia until April with that court case, may not be a bad thing for them that it's starting a little later this season. But that's in the future. Right now, I've got a job to do against Nigel Bogart's Newcastle Jets. That will be the men from Indonesia. And that man, Marco Simic, who get us underway in the first period of extra time, half an hour to decide who goes through to round 3. And if we're still level, it'll be a penalty shootout, Andy Harper.
Yeah, well, Jakarta did a great job in that second half. The Jets should have been clear, but they've been slotty, certainly throughout the entirety of the first half, and on enough occasions in that second half, and still they should have been clear. But Jakarta hung in well. They've shown great grit. And Simenyunjak, they've had the best player on the field, and in Utama, the defender, just a fantastic player who's done an amazing job. And the Jets find themselves in a situation they'd rather have avoided. But the way the Jakarta players were so evidently struggling physically, or some of them anyway, towards the latter stages of that second half.
Here's Georgievski trying to free up the right boot. O'Donovan is offside again.
As extra time goes on, and Newcastle, if they put their foot to the floor, it's going to be hard to imagine the Jakarta players hanging on physically, and Roy O'Donovan only 3 metres offside on that occasion, I think. Easy one to call for the assistant.
Bogart puttering into Setiawan. I was going to say then, Andy, did you have the trundle wheel out?
That's just a crude estimate. But the Jets don't want to be trundling in this extra time period. They want to keep their fate in their own hands.
Andrew Tani just got under that one. A little bit of drift on the ball. Ugarkovic loops to Lester Luhu. The ball bounces back to Abdurrahman. Setiawa. Ugarkovic sliding in. Here's Suchipto with the throw, turns 33 today. They'd love to celebrate it with a win tonight. In extra time. On that occasion, Ridwan, the substitute, couldn't continue the attack for PERSIJA, who won their first league title since 2001 last season, and just their second since 1979. They are the most successful club though in Indonesia. It's been a barren run for them of late. Sofyan bouncing under Listaluhu. Petrowski. Now Bogart. But Denton clip it into the path of Stephen Ugarkovic. Topor Stanley on his bike. Bogart and Redenton had that good chance just at the end of normal time. O'Donovan slides it through, took a deflection on the way.
Very close to an own goal. Redenton in the ball in, nice control from O'Donovan, picked the angle nicely.
Nice off Abdurrahman. So to Fratos. This one directed towards the towering frame of Nigel Bogart, and Simon Yuntak sees Daniel Georgievski, takes him on, and off goes Rico again. He's got the speed of Setiawan making the run. Simon Yuntak, Setiawan got contact, it wasn't enough though. Will be a corner.
That's thrilling. This guy is thrilling. I mean, he's completely pantsed Daniel Georgievski here. It's not easy to do. Very experienced defender. He's just destroyed him. And then burnt the grass. And then delivered a beautiful ball. And it could so easily be 2-1 for Jakarta.
Called in, Glenn Moss will take that one every day of the week. And he only played his first match for the Indonesian national side last year. Here goes Simon Yuntak. And here is O'Donovan. This time he is onside. Away from Suchipto. Fired it at the near post. And Zutani quickly down to save the day for the visitors. It's end-to-end action at the moment. Simon Yuntak playing a big part in that. Looked to his left, saw no one there, saw the space and said, I might just run over there. Sandy Utomo, who has inspired his side tonight. And Sofyan going strong at 39, still in extra time. One more substitution up their sleeves, both sides, and PERSIJA especially. They've made their three. Will we see the Indonesian legend Bambang Pamungkas, the 38-year-old striker? We'll wait and see what Ivan Kolev decides to do. Right now it's up to Dimi Petratos and Matt Redenton. Offside. It's been a common theme for the Newcastle Jets tonight. It's been the thread running through this match for them.
And it's a correct call again, and it's silly from the Jets, really. It's just silliness. And only put it down to the lack of focus and concentration ultimately. We're talking such fine margins. For the sake of the bare millimetres you're offside, you may as well focus and hang on and stay onside. And it's been, as you say, quite rightly, Ben, it's been a theme of the night for the Jets.
And you saw on that stat, 8 offsides to 3 in favour of the Jets. O'Donovan just fires the ball into the back of Abdurrahman. Redenton looks up, space and time for Matt Redenton, and ran straight into a few PERSIJA defenders, and we've got another man down for the visiting side. Kemayoran Tigers, the nickname of this PERSIJA club. It is Simon Yuntak, and he's copped one in the nose, I think. And they never tickle.
Just the forearm of Dimi Petrados. There wasn't heavy contact, but they'll take whatever break they can get at the moment. And the referee's not going to be in any rush to move them on. He's got form.
Here is their final change. Definitely it will be Septimus Alua. And off the bench 3 times last season for them. Limited appearances. And off the bench against Home United. He's a stocky man, Septimus Alua. Low to the ground, very strong.
Likes his shorts in triple XL as well.
By the looks of things. Look at that. Almost wearing long pants, Septimus Alua. And Sandy departs the scene. And Septimus has been with the club since 2017. Maybe Ivan Koller just wanting someone to hold the ball up for PERSIJA. Garkovic, Kantarovski, and Georgievski linking up with Fergay. His pass just didn't have the juice to find Georgievski. And Simon Yuntak, up he looks. Garkovic came from behind and won the ball according to Aziz Asimov. Redenton into the path of O'Donovan. Great link up play, Redenton! And Andratani to the rescue again.
Well, that was great football. It deserved a goal, but it was worthy of a great save. A good goalkeeper has had a great game, earned the right to save this. And as it all looked like for Redenton, it was going to be 2-1 for the Jets.
It's Kantarovski winning the ball. Bogard! You would not credit it. He just loves playing in the Asian Champions League. His 3rd goal in 17 matches.